So far, this mega project has cost me over 52,000 stained glass, and we're not done yet. Today, we're clearing out this desert, cooking up all this sand into some glass, and making the rest of the waterfalls look like this so that we can finally move on. Howdy everyone, this is MacLeod, this is the Asgaard SMP Season 2, and welcome back to episode number 15. You heard the plan for today. We're gonna get started by finishing off the pool, but first we need to head over into the Nether and collect up some honeycombs because as you saw, there were a bunch of white candles, and we're gonna need more, which means we're going to need a bunch of these guys here. And while we're in the Nether, we're going to need to visit the piglin bartering farm as well, because we are also going to need some blackstone to make some addendums to this pit. Do we have any left? Oh good. And that addendum that we're going to make is resolving this issue here where we have a bunch of these zeros. This is all spawnable space. I don't want a bunch of mobs spawning down here, so we need to cover this all with half slabs or other non-spawnable blocks. That's going to require a lot of grinding, but lucky for me, I'm actually traveling for work next week, which means I'm going to have plenty of time to just sit in a hotel, bring my laptop with, and grind away. That does mean, however, that it's going to be a bit before this video actually comes out, so in the meantime, hopefully you are going back and watching some other videos. If you do want to see how this stuff was built, you can go ahead and check out the last episode of Asgaard SMP. Well, I didn't have quite as much time as I had hoped, but we did still get all the glass done. I do still need to do all of the slabs, but that shouldn't be too bad. Take a look at what this looks like right now. I am absolutely in love with this, especially as we come down here. We got a lot of really cool shapes going on. I love how some of these flow into each other. Others are just straight on their own. Some of them just kind of boil up around the top and then eventually make their way down. I think this looks really natural, and I'm really pleased with how this looks so far. Oh, and this stuff. I do still need to do this stuff. As long as I am doing some mob proofing there with all the spawns, we need also probably some of this glow lichen that will help me reduce some spawns in some areas where I can't put some slabs on, and it should hopefully just make it feel a little bit more natural. Now I just have to actually kind of traverse this cave. Looks like there's a little bit more light down here. Does that mean there's another one? Yeah, okay. I'm not quite sure what the pattern is for these things generating, but I certainly want to find a bunch of these. And from down here, you can kind of see these things, but this really isn't a typical view. I'm not super worried about that. The normal view is from the outside looking in, and because you're looking down, you totally don't see them at all. So let's go ahead into free cam mode here. I'm right there, but the camera's out here. We're gonna come back here and take a look at that. They are completely spawn proof, and it doesn't really impede the build at all. Like I said, you can't see the glow lichen from up here, so that's pretty cool. If you get close enough, there's a little bit of a glow to it, a little bit of a green hue, but I think that actually matches the chain pretty well. Makes it look almost like a little bit haunted. It's kind of cool. We do still need to do a little bit of spawn proofing around here. If I go ahead and turn on the lights, we'll see that the chains are all good, but the golden bases are going to need a one block on both sides. So I'll just throw down some pressure plates or something to cover that on up. Use some golden ones so it blends in real nicely, but take a look at the outside here. That is all half slabbed, and we don't have any more spawnable spaces around here, which is a super cool. I did just think of something though. It's all black right now, and we do have these waterways flowing on down here, and I think that would actually kind of interact with the terrain around it. So we're gonna go ahead and grab some other blocks, and I want to try something out to see how it looks. So up here, we're using some of this mud and some of this basalt to blend in some of this blackstone that goes around the river here, and I went to repeat that on down here. So if we go ahead and drop right down, let's see if I can actually find the one area where I put it. Cool, there's a zombie sitting on it because it's actually spawnable right now. All this work to make this not spawnable, and then I go put that in. We'll have to do something about that. Maybe just putting string on it or something. I think that would be pretty much not noticeable. See if we can snipe that guy out of there. Oh. There he goes. So we have this in there now. We started with the lighter blocks around the waterfall here, and then we got the darker block on the outside to try to blend it in a little bit to the black stone around it. I think that's pretty good. I'm not going to do that on all of them, but I'm going to do it on some of them. I think that just doing that in some areas just helps kind of break up the blackness a little bit, and it just makes a little bit more detail so that as you are flying past, there's just something extra to look at. And so those are in now. We have several of them all dotted around here, and honestly, looking at these things, I'm kind of thinking I want to do a lot of them. I actually think it might be really nice to do each one of these faces with this stuff in there and make it really blend in to the area around it, really break up the blackness and see how that looks. But I don't know, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments down below. Should I do a bunch more of these? I'm gonna leave it as it is for now, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say if I should do a bunch more of it, because like I said, I am really kind of digging how this looks. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and leave that area alone for the time being. I've spent so much time recently down in that area, and I feel like I'm just going to keep going on down a rabbit hole with every little thing that I could keep on doing with it. I think it's just going to become something that I kind of do in the background as I'm working on other things like this. We laid out this bridge a very long time ago. I counted this off so that it would be a perfect gradient from the base over here over to the main village over here, and we never did anything with it. It's just this long dirt path. I don't even really use it most of the time. I just fly over it, but I think this would be a really cool addition to really make this thing feel massive. But before I can do this mega build, I have to do something else because we're going to need some blocks for this, and I have a pretty cool idea of the color palette I want to use. So if we take a second to look at a color wheel here, you'll see that purple is roughly across from an off green. And if you recall, our big old tower has a whole lot of purple on it. So I think it would be pretty neat to make that bridge out of somewhat green blocks, not just green, but I would like to mix some greens in there and then do a lot of the other bits that are going to be in the area in green as well. So we get this kind of cool, like symbiotic type thing where we have this like bright green area that's supposed to represent all of the good, and then we've got this evil looking tower out of purple in the back, and they can contrast each other and they can be nice and juxtaposed being a side by side like that. And we have arrived at our destination. Plop down a portal. Let's go ahead on through here and see if we end up in the right spot. I don't know. Why don't we sleep this night away first though? And now take a peek. Let's get this all back here and go on up into the sky. I don't think this is right. I think I've done something wrong. Ah, yes. When you go to calculate the coordinates in the Nether, you divide by 8, not by 4. I am precisely twice as far away from the origin as I need to be. Well, this is awkward. I did all that digging just to find out that I already had a tunnel basically there. Negative 166 is right here. Positive 166 for the X is like right here. Drop down a portal, enter said portal, and we're in a lush cave. Ooh, but don't mind if I do. Oh, there's more. But the coordinates do appear to be correct this time, so if I go ahead and use free cam one more time here, there I am. Let's just go straight up. Look at that. We do have an ocean monument out here, which is a good news. That means that we're going to be able to get a bunch of the prismarine. It's kind of a bluish green to it, but I think it's going to look really good in front of all that purple. And here we have evidence that I have slain all 3 of the Elder Guardians. There's those 3 right there, and the 3 sponges we got from them. There is a sponge room in this monument as well, so we'll be sure to collect up a bunch of those. But I did want to come back and touch base first. We also got the smithing template for the tight armor trim, which is pretty cool. I don't think I've actually had one of those yet. And sponges are collected. We are going to need all of these because although there are drainless farms that I'm aware of, I do always enjoy doing the big drains and a big build around the farm. So we are going to be using a lot of these, and in doing so, not only are we going to be using them, but we're going to have to be drying them up a lot. Now, historically, I've always just brought over a furnace and ran them through there every time I needed them, but I think we can be a lot smarter about this. Apparently, if we come into the Nether and I put these down, they will immediately turn into a dry sponge. Oh yeah, look at that. That is going to be a whole lot faster than smelting these up every time. Apparently if you use a hoe, it's a lot faster too, so I might be bringing this with me. Yeah, that's going to be a whole lot faster. This is coming with me. We're also going to need a ton of sand in order to do the walls to block off the water. And looks like we got a ton of that left. We still have so much that I did not smelt into glass for the last project, and now it's going to be super useful, so I'm really glad that I grabbed a bunch of extra stuff last time. It completely slipped my mind earlier, but I do have this efficiency 4 netherite hoe sitting in my ender chest. That'll probably chop this stuff up pretty good if the regular hoe did just fine as well. And if you look over here, we now have 4 full shulker boxes of sand. We had about 3.5 worth when I first started putting it in here, but then I ran back off to the desert and rounded it off, so we should have plenty of sand now to do this without having to go back and forth too often. This is quite the sight, but I've already put a ton of time into this episode, and we don't have any more time to start that off today, so at the beginning of next episode, you'll see that, as well as an update to 1.21.6, which just came out a little bit ago. I can't wait to jump on and try out some new things. We might also see the shaders go away until that's updated, but anyway, hopefully y'all have enjoyed, go ahead and subscribe for more, and I'll see y'all next time.